The Empire's pride, the Kalari Empire, rules over 12 star systems with an iron fist. Their massive fleet of warships keeps the galaxy in line through fear and superior technology. Admiral Vex commands the flagship Dominator, a ship so powerful it has never lost a battle. The story opens with the Empire celebrating another victory. They have just crushed a rebellion on the outer rim planet of New Terra. Hundreds of human colonists were killed, and the survivors were taken as slaves. The Empire sees humans as weak, primitive creatures, good only for manual labor. Captain Tor, Vex's second-in-command, reports that their sensors have detected a strange ship approaching their fleet. It's unlike anything in their databases, sleek, dark, and completely silent. This ship appears to be of human design, but that seems impossible. Humans don't have the technology to build warships that could threaten the Empire. Admiral Vex laughs at the report. One human ship against their entire battle fleet. It's suicide. He orders his fleet to surround the mysterious vessel and demands its surrender. The human ship doesn't respond to any communication attempts. Vex grows angry at being ignored. He commands his gunners to fire a warning shot across the human ship's bow. The plasma blast streaks through space, but something incredible happens. The human ship doesn't even try to dodge. The blast hits an invisible barrier around the ship and simply disappears. The entire bridge falls silent. Their most powerful weapons just vanish like they hit nothing at all. Vex stares at the view screen in disbelief. This is impossible. No technology in the known galaxy can do what they just witnessed. The human ship finally breaks its silence. A calm voice speaks in perfect Kalari language. This is Captain Reed of the Earth vessel Retribution. You have exactly 10 minutes to release all human prisoners and withdraw from this system. This is your only warning. Admiral Vex explodes. With rage, a primitive human dares to threaten the mighty Kalari Empire. He orders his entire fleet to open fire with everything they have. 200 warships unleash their full firepower on the single human vessel. The space around the Retribution lights up like a star as thousands of energy beams and missiles strike its shields. The attack continues for several minutes until the Kalari ships run out of ammunition. When the light fades, the human ship sits exactly where it was before. Completely undamaged, Captain Tor's voice shakes as he reports that their sensors show the human ship's energy levels haven't even dropped. It absorbed their entire fleet's attack without any effort at all. Vex realizes they are facing something beyond their understanding. The 10 minutes pass in tense silence. When the deadline expires, Captain Reed's voice returns. You chose poorly. The human race sends its regards. The hunter becomes the Retribution begins its attack, and the Kalari Empire learns the true meaning of terror. The human ship moves with impossible speed, appearing and disappearing around the battlefield like a ghost. Its weapons are unlike anything the galaxy has ever seen. Instead of energy beams or missiles, the Retribution fires what looks like small metal rods. These projectiles travel at incredible speed and punch through Kalari shields like they don't exist. Each rod completely destroys whatever ship it hits, turning massive warships into expanding clouds of debris. Admiral Vex watches in horror as his fleet is torn apart. Ships that took years to build are destroyed in seconds. He orders a retreat, but the human ship is everywhere at once. It appears behind fleeing vessels and eliminates them before they can jump to hyperspace. Captain Tor tries to coordinate a defense, but their weapons are useless. Every shot they fire is either absorbed by the human ship's shields or simply ignored. The Retribution doesn't even seem to consider them a threat worth avoiding. The battle becomes a massacre. The Kalari Empire's most powerful fleet is being destroyed by a single human ship. Vex can't understand how this is possible. Intelligence reports said humans were still using primitive chemical rockets and had barely reached their own moon. As more ships explode around them. Vex receives panicked reports from across the Empire. The Retribution isn't alone. Human ships are appearing in every major Kalari system simultaneously. Each one is as advanced and deadly as the ship destroying his fleet. The reports are impossible to believe. Humans are attacking the Empire's capital. World, its military academies, its weapons factories, and its slave processing centers. Every attack is perfectly coordinated, striking at exactly the same time despite being separated by hundreds of light years. Captain Tor realizes something that chills him to the bone. The humans aren't just attacking randomly. They know exactly where to hit to cause maximum damage. They have detailed knowledge of every Kaleri military installation, every secret base, every hidden weapons cache. Vex tries to contact the Empire's capital for reinforcements, but the communication channels are dead. The humans have somehow cut off all long-range communications across the entire Empire. Every system is isolated and under attack. The Dominator shudders as the Retribution finally turns its attention to the flagship. Vex orders all power to shields and weapons, but he knows it's hopeless. He has watched this human ship destroy vessels much more powerful than his own. Captain, Reed's voice fills the bridge again. Admiral Vex of the Kaleri Empire, your fleet is destroyed. Your empire is falling. You have one chance to survive this day. Vex swallows his pride and asks what the human wants. Reed's response is simple. The location of every human slave in Kaleri space. You have 60 seconds to transmit the data, or you will join your fleet in oblivion. The Admiral looks around. His bridge, his officers stare back with fear in their eyes. Outside the viewports, the wreckage of 200 warships drifts in space. The pride of the Kaleri Empire has been reduced to scrap metal by a single human vessel. With trembling hands, Vex accesses the slave databases and transmits everything to the Retribution. The data includes the locations of prison camps, slave, markets, and transport ships throughout Kaleri space. The Empire's darkest hour, the data transmission saves Admiral Vex's life, but it also seals the Empire's fate. Within hours, human rescue fleets appear at every location where Kaleri forces hold human prisoners. The rescues are swift and precise, with human ships teleporting enslaved people to safety before the Kaleri guards can react. News of the fleet's destruction spreads across the Empire like wildfire. Panic grips every world as citizens realize their mighty military was crushed in a single day. The Kaleri people had believed they were the masters of the galaxy, but now they cower in fear of human retaliation. Emperor's aide calls an emergency session of the High Council on the capital. World of Kalerios. The massive throne room fills with the Empire's most powerful leaders, all demanding answers. How did primitive humans develop such advanced technology? Where did these warships come from? General Cass, the Empire's top military strategist, presents what little intelligence they have gathered. The human ships use technology that seems to bend the laws of physics. They can travel faster than light without using hyperspace, making them impossible to track or intercept. Minister Lex reports that human forces have liberated over 50,000 enslaved humans across the Empire. The rescue operations were completed, with 0 casualties among the prisoners and minimal damage to surrounding areas. The humans are clearly trying to minimize harm to innocent civilians. This puzzles the Council. If humans have such overwhelming power, why aren't they destroying Kaleri cities and enslaving the population? Any other species would use this advantage to conquer and rule. But the humans seem only interested in freeing their people. Emperor's aide reveals a terrifying truth that his spies have discovered. The human ships aren't from the primitive colonies the Empire knew about. They come from Earth itself, the human homeworld. That was thought to be a backwater planet of no importance. The intelligence reports paint a picture that chills the Council to their cores. Earth has been secretly developing advanced technology for decades while pretending to be primitive. They have been watching the galaxy, learning about every species, every government, every military force. Asterisk Minister Lex presents captured footage. From the battle zones, the human ships move with perfect coordination, as if controlled by a single mind. Their weapons are incredibly precise, able to disable Kaleri ships without killing the crews when they choose to show mercy. General Cass admits that every military strategy they try fails. Against the humans, traditional fleet tactics don't work. Against enemies who can teleport anywhere instantly. Defense positions become useless when the enemy can appear behind them without warning. The Emperor asks the question that haunts them all: what do the humans want? If they only cared about freeing their enslaved people, they could have negotiated or offered trades. Instead, they chose to demonstrate their overwhelming power by destroying the Empire's greatest fleet. Asterisk. Communication officer next interrupts the council session with urgent news. The humans are broadcasting a message to every world in the Empire simultaneously. The transmission is coming from the mysterious ship that destroyed Admiral Vex's fleet. Captain Reed's voice fills the throne room as his image appears on the main screen. He looks exactly like the humans the Empire has enslaved, unremarkable by Kaleri standards. But his eyes hold the confidence of someone who, People of the Kaleri Empire, Reed begins, your leaders have committed crimes against humanity that cannot be forgiven. For generations, you have enslaved, tortured, and murdered members of our species. Today, that ends. The captain's words echo through government buildings across the Empire. We do not seek to conquer your worlds or enslave your people. We are not like you, but we will not allow the abuse of humans to continue. Reed's ultimatum is simple but devastating. The Empire has 7 days to release all remaining human prisoners, dismantle their slave trade networks, and pay reparations to the families of murdered humans. Any world that refuses will face the consequences. The transmission ends with a demonstration of human power that leaves the council speechless. Every military satellite around Calarios suddenly goes dark. The humans have disabled the capital world's entire defense. Network without firing a shot. Emperor's aide stares at the blank screen in stunned silence. In less than 24 hours, the mighty Kalari Empire has been brought to its knees by a species they considered inferior. The darkest hour in their history has only just begun. Part 4. The Price of Arrogance. 770 words. The 7-day deadline becomes a week of chaos across the Kalari Empire. Some worlds immediately comply with human demands, desperate to avoid the fate that befell Admiral Vex's fleet. Others, led by proud military governors, choose to resist. The resistors learned quickly that defying humanity was a fatal mistake. Human ships appear without warning over rebellious worlds, their advanced technology making orbital defenses useless. The attacks are surgical and precise. Military installations vanish in seconds, while civilian areas remain untouched. Governor Rix of the border world Nexus Prime becomes the first to test human resolve. He publicly declares that no alien species will dictate terms to the Kaleri Empire. His planet hosts one of the largest slave processing centers, where thousands of humans await transport to labor camps. The retribution arrives at Nexus Prime, exactly at the deadline. Captain Reed gives Governor Rix one final chance to surrender the human prisoners peacefully. The governor responds by activating the planet's ultimate weapon, a massive energy cannon capable of cracking moons. The cannon fires its full power at the human ship. The beam is so intense it lights up half the planet's surface. When the light fades, the retribution hovers exactly where it was before, completely unharmed. The planet's ultimate weapon had no more effect than throwing rocks. Reed's response is swift and absolute. A single projectile from the retribution strikes the energy cannon, and the entire weapon complex disappears in a flash of light. The explosion is so complete that no debris remains. The facility simply ceases to exist. Governor Rix realizes his mistake too late. Within minutes, human rescue teams are teleporting enslaved humans directly off his planet. His guards and security, SYSTEMs, cannot stop or even detect the rescue operations. Thousands of prisoners vanish before his eyes. The governor tries to use the remaining human slaves as hostages, threatening to execute them if the rescue continues. Reed's response chills him to the bone. Governor Rix, you have just signed your own death warrant. The retribution doesn't waste time with threats or negotiations. A single precision strike eliminates the governor's palace with him inside it. The attack is so precise that buildings on either side suffer no damage at all. The message is clear. Humans can kill anyone, anywhere, anytime they choose. Similar scenes play out across the Empire as other military leaders make the same fatal error. Each act of defiance results in swift, overwhelming retaliation. Human ships don't conquer these worlds. They simply remove the leadership and rescue their people. Emperor Zaid watches the reports with growing despair. Every military advantage the Empire once held has become useless. Their most powerful weapons can't penetrate human shields. Their fastest ships can't escape human pursuit. Their best strategies fail against enemies, who can teleport anywhere. The Emperor's advisors present casualty reports that reveal the terrifying precision of human warfare. Despite destroying entire military installations, human attacks have killed remarkably few Kaleri civilians. They are fighting a war with surgical precision, targeting only those responsible for enslaving humans. General Cass makes a disturbing observation that shakes the council. The humans aren't just militarily superior. They have moral superiority as well. They could easily exterminate the entire Kaleri species, but they choose to show mercy to innocent civilians. This realization forces the Empire's leaders to confront an uncomfortable truth. By Kaleri standards, the humans would be justified in enslaving or destroying their entire civilization. The Empire has committed genocide against human colonies and enslaved millions of their people. Minister Lex reports that several Kaleri worlds are already negotiating separate peace agreements with human representatives. These negotiations reveal another shocking truth. The humans have been studying Kaleri society for decades and understand their culture better than many Kaleri do themselves. The human negotiators speak fluent Kaleri and understand the complex political relationships between different worlds. They know exactly which leaders can be trusted and which ones will betray any agreement. This knowledge gives them an enormous advantage in diplomatic discussions. Emperor Zaid faces a choice that will determine the fate of his empire. He can continue fighting a war he cannot win, watching his civilization be destroyed piece by piece. Or he can surrender completely and accept whatever terms humanity offers. The decision becomes easier when Captain Reed contacts the Emperor directly. The human captain offers surprisingly generous terms. The Empire can continue to exist if it completely abandons slavery and pays reparations to human survivors. All human prisoners must be freed immediately, and any Kaleri found guilty of murdering humans will face trial. The alternative, Reed presents, is simple. Total war until the Kaleri Empire ceases to exist. Part 5. A New Galaxy, 770 words. Emperor. Zaid's surrender speech echoes across the galaxy, marking the end of the Kaleri Empire as a major power. The Emperor admits that his people's arrogance led them to underestimate humanity's capabilities and moral strength. The formal surrender ceremony takes place aboard the Retribution, where Zaid signs documents that will reshape galactic politics. Forever, the terms of surrender are more generous than anyone expected. Humans don't demand territory or tribute beyond reparations for their enslaved people. They require the Empire to dismantle its slave trade networks and establish new laws, protecting the rights of all species. War criminals will face justice, but ordinary Kaleri citizens will be left in peace. Dotkin Reed explains humanity's philosophy to the defeated Emperor. We don't seek to rule over other species, he says. We only want to ensure that what happened to our people never happens again to anyone. The liberation of human prisoners reveals the true scope of Kaleri crimes. Over 200,000 humans were held in slave camps across the Empire, with many more having died in captivity over the generations. The rescued survivors tell stories of brutal treatment and systematic dehumanization that shock even some Kaleri citizens. Human medical ships arrive to treat the freed prisoners, using advanced healing technology that seems miraculous to Kaleri. Observers, injuries that would cripple someone for life are healed in minutes. The psychological trauma of slavery is treated with therapies that help victims recover their hope and dignity. The galaxy watches in amazement as humanity demonstrates its true capabilities. Human ships appear in dozens of star systems simultaneously, not as conquerors, but as peacekeepers. They establish rescue centers for escaped slaves of all species and begin dismantling the galactic slave trade networks. Other alien governments that participated in slavery face similar ultimatums. Some surrender immediately after witnessing the Empire's defeat. Others try to resist and quickly discover that humanity's patience has limits. The message spreads rapidly. The age of slavery is over. Admiral Vex, one of the few Kaleri military leaders to survive the war, provides intelligence that helps locate hidden slave camps and trafficking routes. His cooperation earns him a reduced sentence, but he must live with the knowledge that his fleet's destruction was caused by his own people's cruelty. The Retribution and other human ships begin patrolling major trade routes, stopping and inspecting vessels suspected of carrying slaves. Their advanced sensors can detect life signs hidden in cargo holds or secret compartments. No amount of shielding or deception can hide from human technology. Within months, the galactic slave trade collapses completely. Species that built their economies on forced labor must adapt or face economic collapse. Some worlds struggle with the transition, but human advisors arrive to help develop new economic models based on fair trade and voluntary cooperation. Asterisk, the transformation goes beyond economics. Human influence spreads new ideas about individual rights and species equality throughout the galaxy. Young aliens begin questioning the old ways of thinking that allowed slavery to flourish for so long. Captain Reed reveals in a final broadcast that Earth had been preparing for this day for over a century. Humanity had been secretly developing advanced technology while publicly maintaining the appearance of a primitive civilization. They studied every major galactic power, learning their weaknesses and preparing for the day when intervention would be necessary. The human homeworld, Earth, emerges from its self-imposed isolation as a major galactic power. Human diplomats, scientists, and peacekeepers spread across a known space, working to build a more just and equitable galaxy. Their advanced technology is shared freely with species that embrace peaceful coexistence. The former Kaleri Empire adapts to its new reality under human oversight. Many Kaleri citizens, especially younger generations, embrace the changes and work to rebuild their society on more ethical foundations. They learn to see strength in mercy and wisdom in restraint, concepts their warrior culture had long rejected. Emperor Zaid, stripped of most of his power but allowed to remain as a figurehead leader, reflects on how completely his understanding of the galaxy has changed. The species his people considered primitive and weak had been the most advanced and powerful all along. Their greatest strength was not their technology, but their unwillingness to use their power to dominate others. Story concludes with Captain Reed standing on the bridge of the Retribution, looking out at a galaxy that will never be the same. Humanity has achieved what many thought impossible. They ended slavery not through conquest, but through the demonstration of overwhelming power tempered by moral restraint. The mysterious warship that struck without warning had given the galaxy something it never expected: hope for a better future where no sentient being would ever again be bought, sold, or owned by another. The end. Asterisk.